Welcome to my conclave, where we will be conclaving over the state of my conclave. What you know about a conclave? Picture this, a group of people, sequestered, no phones, no outside influence, nothing but years of isolated skill and talent built between them as they come together to make a decision that will forever change their institution and maybe even the world. Now open your eyes.
Never told us to close them.
Were you picturing 2011's Lemonade Mouth? Were you picturing the Disney Channel original movie Lemonade Mouth, the DCOM original Lemonade Mouth? Why do I want to say DCOM original? It's redundant. It's like ATM machine, but it just rolls off the tongue. DCOM original, DCOM original. At a bare minimum, both of these films highlight the importance of a layered outfit. How shape, volume, and flow of fabric can help create a distinctive look. Do you wonder if at any point during this era of Disney Channel styling, anybody thought, are we asking too much of the belts? Are we asking too much? A six-pack of lemonade? Throw it on there. Just Giles Coreying these accessories to their absolute limits. More weight. I don't think it's a stretch to compare these movies at all, and I'm sure many of us have seen already comparisons made between the cafeteria scene in Conclave to the burn book montage in Mean Girls. I mean, any movie that has this many secrets revealed and lives ruined has to be in conversation with the one who did it first. The teenage girl. Regina George spilled tea so that Cardinal Lawrence could dump it all over the floor. The only problem with Mean Girls is that the comparison pretty much stops there. I feel like Mean Girls lacks a fight for a greater cause. What I mean by this is that all the drama of the film is self-contained and a resolution is reached when the singular high school environment is returned to a state of balance and homeostasis. Conclave exists in a contained environment, yes, but there are many things that break through the barrier from the outside world, and we are reminded that the characters' actions have implications beyond just these circles that they keep. Take a film like Mean Girls. Keep the heightened high school stakes and petty drama, add characters that are ripe for revolution, loyal to a cause, and we're talking about the Disney Channel original movie Lemonade Mouth. Conclave and Lemonade Mouth are virtually the same movie, and you might have your doubts, but I assure you, the resemblance is uncanny. The word conclave, by definition, is the meeting of cardinals to vote on a new pope. Conclave 2024 is about a fictionalized meeting of cardinals who are voting on a new pope. Yes, kids, the title is topical. And of course, everybody has an angle. Everybody's vying for their school's pope to go first overall in the pope draft.
With the first pick.
Lemonade Mouth is about teens competing for a record deal via the Rising Star Talent Competition. Am I comparing the local music competition featured in the Disney Channel original movie to securing the papacy? Absolutely. I mean, the way these kids are acting, it may as well be that they're trying to secure the papacy. Okay, so before we jump in, who are the sides? What are the players? On the left, we have the left. For Conclave, we have Cardinals Lawrence, Bellini, some others to fill out the space that go mostly unnamed. In Lemonade Mouth, the proverbial left is Lemonade Mouth, Olivia, Stella, Charlie, Wen, Mo. These groups stand for moving their respective institutions, high school, the Catholic Church, beyond the reign of hierarchical nationalism and into a more socially liberal state, sticking up for the disenfranchised, sticking it to the man, for the little man, for the tiny, tiny guy. And on the right side, we have the right, the conservatives, the traditionalists. Notable cardinals include Adeyemi and Tedesco, not working together per se, but both interested in returning the church to times of yore. Likewise, the foes of Lemonade Mouth are rival band Mudslide Crush. As the proverbial high school right, they support traditional high school dynamics, with those unofficially elected populars sitting on top, while everybody else is in the basement, literally. Any comparison of lyrics from either side will really give you a sense of how different these groups are from each other. Lemonade Mouth's be heard, be strong, be proud, against Mudslide Crush's I'm a superstar and I got a cool car and the girls like me better than whoever you are. At this point in the video, I feel compelled to say, since I'm sure my most astute viewers are starting to notice, hey, these movies and the impending analysis seem to be telling me right bad and left good, to which I say, movies are not real. They offer pared down versions of our world that can't take in all the nuance and varying degrees of reality. I just feel compelled to acknowledge this simplification in my analysis, not because I'm a Republican, but because I don't want to appear to be giving the Dems too much credit.
How is the best case scenario, Joe Biden?
And then, of course, there's plenty of other characters who fall in different spots on the spectrum of social order. There's moderately leaning Cardinal Tremblay, Cardinal Benitez, who is notably difficult to place. There's also a woman. Sister Agnes is in charge of cafeteria and snacks and watching over the nuns at work. Slow zone, nuns at work. Agnes, like music teacher Miss Resnick, has a vested interest in the situation but can't do anything really directly. A woman on the sidelines, so to speak. Anyway, I think anyone who's anyone has enough context to get into this thing, so let's get into this thing.
You wake up, it's raining and it's Monday. Looks like one of those rough
Okay, so the Pope is dead. Cardinals are traveling from all across the land to participate in the next papal election. We're preparing to be here for some amount of time, however long it takes for a majority vote to be achieved and for a new pope to drop. We're changing clothes, we're putting books away, everything leading up to sequestration, aka conclave. Our day at Mesa High School, not so different. We're preparing to be here for some amount of time. Well, it's school, so 6 to 7 hours, I think. A predetermined yet very specific amount of time, depending on your district. We're changing clothes, we're putting books away, everything leading up to sequestration, aka detention. All the members of the group, soon to be known as the group Lemonade Mouth, don't know each other yet, but they are getting detention today. Why, you ask? Well, none of them are bad kids per se, but each has a secret. A secret that creates tension in their life that sometimes leads to detention gettings, but in a way is integral to who they are. Hey look, it's Ray of Mudslide Crush making his abrasive personality known before anything gets started, not unlike Cardinal Tedesco. Okay, but secrets. Both the films Conclave 2024 and Lemonade Mouth 2011 deal with the implications of a kept secret. In Conclave, in the form of ulterior motives that sort of have a retroactive payoff the further we are along in the movie. In Lemonade Mouth, a lot of the secrets are front-loaded to us so we may better empathize with these teens, and when they start opening up to each other, it's like, oh yeah, we've been on this. We know what these kids are going through. So secrets. Let's speed run some of these secrets. What are the secrets? One secret is that his dad has a girlfriend, Sydney. She's 28. She's taking classes at community college, and Wen is tired of her. So of course, when she shows up to Wen's class to deliver a forgotten folder and the teacher assumes that she's Wen's mom, he lashes out.
Are you stupid?
Boom, detention. Can we also get a detention for all the kids who made little comments when Sydney walked through the door? She came in being, quite frankly, very helpful, bringing him his ruby red folder, and all of his peers were like, oh god.
Check out Wynn's mommy.
Wow. I've never tried to do that before. That's crazy. I could be a construction worker. Next, Charlie. Charlie's secret is that he has a brother who was a soccer star but has since graduated. And when Charlie plays soccer, he looks like this. He doesn't want to be here right now, but his parents are depending on him to fill that soccer-sized void in their hearts. At soccer tryouts, he gets so frustrated with like the situation, the pressure, everything that he goes to kick the ball. But remember, Charlie sucks at soccer. So when he kicks it, it obviously accidentally hits his coach. Detention. Then there's Mo. Mo's secret is that her dad wants her to be a capital P perfect student, but she wants to be cool and fit in as Scott's girlfriend. Scott of Mudslide Crush. Yes, Scott of Mudslide Crush. She is fraternizing with her soon-to-be enemy. In the morning when she gets dropped off, she doesn't want Scott to see her in her apparently very prudish outfit. She's like, oh my god, don't look at me. Don't look at me. And big reveal, she takes off her jacket. She takes off her jacket and she puts lip gloss on, and something tells me Scott would have not noticed anything different. What? Was he gonna be like, babe, your lips are so lackluster today. What's going on? And God forbid your peers see you in a jacket, Mo. It's not as if you're in formal dress for most of the movie. Jeans under my skirt, that's fine, but a jacket is so embarrassing. Later, when she sees Scott in her much cooler, very different outfit, he suggests that they ditch so they can hang out, but obviously Principal Brennigan catches them on his 4K Ultra HD IMAX graded security cameras. That footage is crisper than the movie. Detention. Next we have Olivia. Meek, shy, bashful Olivia, not unlike another shy protagonist we'll see forced out of their shell in the wake of plot, in the wake of story and circumstance. She bikes up to school and drops all her items. So embarrassing to drop an item. God, don't look at me. I've dropped an item. She gets detention the only way she knows how, by hiding in a closet because she is so bashful and shy. I also want to mention here too that like they clearly put Brennigan on a Segway to make him look silly and discredit him as an authority figure, but man, he works that Segway and all the corresponding Segway choreography hard. He put his whole Segossi into this thing. Brennigan, if you haven't already guessed, is more aligned with the rights values of order and tradition. It literally says nationalism on the whiteboard as he's talking. Now finally there's Stella, the last piece of our titular band forming in detention puzzle. Stella is the new kid in town, and a new kid in town is a problem for any establishment because she's basically a rogue. She hasn't assimilated neatly amongst her classes of men. What activity is she gonna do? Where is she gonna sit at lunch? When she first meets with Brennigan, he shows a strong disdain for her shirt, which appears to question question authority. I don't know. The Delia's graphic tee type B doesn't really get me, but something about it offends him and goes against his values of hierarchy, class, and the maintaining of a tight ship.
I run a tight ship here.
So she reluctantly puts on her mom's blazer to comply. As Mo has lost a blazer, Stella gains one. If my calculations are correct and all our figures are up to date, the net blazer value of Lemonade Mouth is currently set at 0 blazers. Not enough. We need more layers. I need more baubles. I need more accessories on these children. Stat! Later at school assembly, Brennigan is very excited about a sports drink brand deal.
New gym generously funded by our school-sponsored Turbo Blends. Drink of champions!
See how his eyes glimmer with the blue goo like he's drunk the water of life. The prophecy has been fulfilled. These corporate sponsorships are going to save my school.
Listen, I gave.
But yeah, so Brennigan and effectively their entire institution is in the pocket of Big Drink. And this partnership and its support of several sports-related school projects shows just how, your jocks, your bros, your dudes, your guys, your studs, your all-stars, your bricks, your ballers are bestowed with certain privileges, while the rest of the school, your artsies, your fartsies, your freaks, your narps, your nerds, your twerps, your geeks, your flops are just tossed aside. Brennigan then goes into a very generic speech about personal empowerment. We can't just have a school assembly about electrolytes, I guess, and Stella rightfully recognizes this as hypocrisy.
Want empowered students?
My shirt, my decision.
She goes to rip her mother's blazer from her body to take a stand. She's taking a stand, free from the shackles of women's formal wear. And yes, she's not just standing up for herself and her shirt, but also urges her classmates to stand up for themselves and their shirts.
Use your voice!
Things get out of hand. Brennigan is escorted away as if there's fear he would be assassinated or something. All this to say, detention. Oh, are you rousing your peers? Yeah, I think that's gonna get you sent to detention. But it's really no surprise that her impassioned behavior causes such a stir here by having a different perspective, by being new kid in town. She's going to challenge this high school environment by not submitting to these rules and customs that are blindly accepted by her jaded constituents. Hey, speaking of new kid in town that can offer a fresh perspective, Cardinal Benitez has entered the chat. He's the final piece of our conclave puzzle, having been elevated to the status of cardinal just last year. And when Lawrence introduces him to the group, we see his presence kind of exposes the other cardinals and them perhaps taking their own rituals for granted. Benitez is asked to bless the meal, and most of them assume he's finished after just a few very basic words. They go to sit down, and then it catches them off guard that he actually goes into a much more thoughtful statement. Benitez, being some new energy in the room, draws attention to the complacency that's gone unchecked for so long. Hey, these guys don't care about the world, they just want to eat. Lawrence then directs Benitez to his respective table, as in the other Spanish-speaking cardinals, because this is a cafeteria, and so there are cliques. Yes, this is the papacy, but more importantly, we're in a cafeteria. Doesn't matter if you're a bunch of grown-ass men making decisions on the global level, the fraught nature of this environment holds strong. Continuing on that note, Tedesco calls Lawrence over to his table of Italians.
Wait. Sit down. Seriously, sit down.
Senza Roma, senza la tradizione di Roma.
Quindi il prossimo Papa dovrebbe essere un italiano.
E perché no?
He's making his stance very clear, his desire to return the church to a state of heightened tradition and under an Italian pope specifically, and not without directing some racism towards conservative frontrunner Cardinal Andiemi.
Tu riesci a immaginare veramente un'alternativa?
This guy is a bigger problem than we thought. It's the end of the day, and it's becoming increasingly apparent that the left, Voldemort, Stanley Tucci, other company, has got to organize and figure out what to do about Tedesco. We're back at Mesa High, and it's the end of the day. If you'll remember, there's a few people who are due in detention. Wow, those cheerleaders are really saying nothing. Not even a word.
Let them speak! Allow them to talk!
Coincidentally, detention is in the basement where Brennigan's anti-arts agenda has manifested itself.
What is this place?
This is the underground.
And yes, the optics of putting all your artsy, crafty, sensitive students in the basement is not great. You're sending them a very particular message about their value in the school's ecosystem, but also a space is a space. And this basement seems to have a lot of square footage. I think the only group that's actually shafted is the art club, but if I were them, I wouldn't be pissed at Brennigan. I'd be pissed at that soul ballerina that gets that giant ass studio all to herself. This is the unequal distribution of resources, Kayla. But as Stella weaves her way through each of these subgroups, at least one thing becomes clear, that despite the lack of funding, despite all the pushback, Mesa High School has a rich and thriving extracurricular environment. In fact, they just might be ripe for revolution. And then at the end of her journey, the final discarded treasure of the school's underbelly lies before her. Lemonade. This mysterious glowing machine, perhaps the perfect proverbial Kool-Aid of the left to combat the turbo blast of the right. Grab one, take one. Let's see what happens when we're all finally in the room together and hydrated. At the same time, all the cardinals of the left are finally in the room together. Nothing but some common viewpoints between them.
Church, papacy.
Nothing but some lemonade between them. They're cleaning as part of their detention, but as they start moving boxes, as they start spraying bottles, something's in the air. Can you feel it? That slippery slope, that teetering edge that is the movie musical. You're just tapping your fingers nonchalantly 1 second and then playing a cello arrangement for a song you've never heard with your ears before the next. You're wiping down surfaces one moment and then singing in perfect tune with 4 strangers another. And I know Camp Rock has gotten a lot of flack for its choreography. I mean, this is undeniably embarrassing, but I'm truly surprised that the internet has not gotten its paws on what Stella is doing right now. Turn Up the Music is a real, hey, look at us, look at us. Look at all these different paths that brought us here, and yet we might not be so different after all. We've got a rapport going here. Something's working between us, and it's all coalescing in something harmonious, a beautiful song for Conclave, the analogy, a beautiful plan, a beautiful papal strategy. Feel the beat and just let go. But still, what about Tedesco? Oh, but shh, quiet. The nuns are cleaning. They can't hear what we're saying, what we're planning. And then Resonant comes in and everybody's like, oh, shh. We weren't supposed to be singing. We were supposed to be spraying this cello down, I guess, and not plucking its strings in tweeny bop perfection. But Resnick isn't actually mad at all because they're talented. And talent might be the one thing that can take this sports-obsessed autocracy down. They should do Rising Star.
Rising Star! It's a talent competition. Winner gets a record deal.
Winner gets a record deal. That is so decom of them. To put a record deal in arm's reach. What town is this? Unfortunately, the room is not enthused because A, they don't even know each other, and B, they'd have to take down the hottest band in school, Mudslide Crush. Remember? Led by Ray and Scott. Speaking of, isn't Scott supposed to be here right now? Didn't he also try to ditch school earlier? Actually, he got off with a warning because he has soccer practice. Yeah, sorry, babe. Ray and Scott are sports kids as well. I feel like I haven't wrapped my head around this. Let's contend with this. They are part of the cohort that benefits from the Turbo Blast sponsorship nonsense, and they're in the hottest band in school. They are soccer kicking and guitar slinging. Talk about the unequal distribution, nay, the hoarding of resources by the most privileged classes amongst them. We can't enter Rising Star. What would we do about Mudslide Crush? Did you guys figure out what you're doing about Tedesco? Okay, yes, so Cardinal Bellini has been chosen as the left's papal bid, as he is perhaps the most emphatic and outspoken of all of them.
I have no intention of concealing my views. I stand for everything that Tedesco does not.
And so we all leave detention, changed, and maybe this would have been a one-off moment of magic, except for the fact that Stella gathers them for a second meeting to reconsider.
I signed us up for Rising Star this morning.
See, last night at family dinner, we got to see how everybody else in her family is very smart, and she feels inferior because she's not curing cancer or involved in big tech or playing with Legos.
I may not be a genius, which is like, I don't know, a genetic abnormality in this family.
You know, her secret, her rosebud, was never just that she was an anarchist at heart for the sake of it, but that she feels compelled to do something in the wake of her family not taking her seriously. And look here, a large portion of the student population unhappy. Maybe I can do something. If they don't stand up to Tedesco, who will? Who will?
Okay, I'll do it. Yeah!
Tomorrow night, the real work begins.
But we all know that having a great plan isn't enough to take us all the way. It's time to execute, baby. Despite all the initial media speculation and preliminary gossip, where are the numbers actually falling? What are the polls saying after the first vote? So it's this. Cardinal Andiami at the top of the vote, but without the necessary majority. Then Tedesco, then Bellini trailing even further, and then Cardinal Lawrence racking up a few votes as well. Mon Dieu! Monsieur Lawrence, we assumed because he is so meek and oh so shy that he has no papal ambitions because he doesn't. But he opened conclave with a thoughtful speech that he actually put effort into, and everybody clocked that and was like, oh, Lawrence, doing more than the bare minimum of what's required in our little ritual. Seems like you literally want to be Pope.
Let him grant us a Pope who sins and asks for forgiveness.
If this line of thinking doesn't make sense to you, it's because it really doesn't. It's all conclave logic. Sequestration brain. Everybody perceiving everybody else's behavior as a move for power. In a way, it's really high school of them. All this to say, Lawrence has some serious damage control to do with Bellini.
I had no idea you were so ambitious.
Oh, that's a ridiculous thing to say.
Is it? Is it?
Competing egos and clashing personalities getting in the way of the left's united front. If we don't work through this, our entire mission could be compromised. Tedesco could become Pope. Likewise, band practice is not going well.
Come on, Charlie. It's B to B flat, back to B, then an F sharp.
Egos are competing and personalities are clashing, so much so that Mo is ready to ditch. Mo is ready to blow this popsicle stand, but then a few wayward notes give her pause. It's the music.
Can you see me? 'Cause I'm right here.
We're letting the petty stuff get in the way. What, a few votes are gonna tear us apart? And it's not as if things are going to get any easier. After 2 more votes, Endaimi is still at the top, having gained more votes, while Bellini is trailing even further and further behind. And when the school hears about this mysterious new band vying for a spot at the Halloween Bash, it's Halloween Bash and then it's Rising Star. I didn't make you guys privy to the first of 2 very important gigs in the movie. When the word breaks out, Lemonade Mouth doesn't receive the swell of support from their peers that they perhaps expected.
Back off the bash. This was on the door.
Fresh blood competing with the well-established players of the institution. It isn't inspiring yet. It's just confusing and, quite frankly, making everybody uncomfortable. You guys are really gonna take on Mudslide Crush? One day in the cafeteria, Olivia is cornered by Ray and his cronies, and things escalate fast.
When? A little help here.
No, I'm a lover, not a fighter.
When? Soft boy confirmation. And nobody knows what to do. This isn't the 80s. We can't just punch each other. It's 2011. It's just a lot of kids juking other kids out until Stella definitively spits lemonade in Ray's face. Brennigan rolls in on his Sega, see feeling fussy riding on my Segway, see.
Next thing you know, it's Lemonade Mouth over here.
In the midst of this juvenile strife, in the pits of the struggle, the name of the resistance is actually born. I know I've been calling them Lemonade Mouth this whole time, but up to this point, they've been operating under the title of probably like untitled upcoming Detention band project. And now with Lemonade Mouth going public in a major way, Mo feels it's time to come clean to Scott.
It's me.
What?
I'm in the band.
I'm in the band.
What?
I play bass.
I'm sorry, babe. Yeah, I've developed a new hobby/special interest that doesn't revolve around you.
If you want to be in a band, you could play backup guitar for me or something.
He doesn't get it. It's not just a band, Scott. It's a cause. But immediately following Mo's confession is probably one of my favorite sequences of the movie. Mudslide Crush rehearsal. In their proprietary rehearsal garage with multiple prop cars at the ready, it's giving old money. It's giving institutional money. We're watching through the eyes of Mo, who isn't kidding herself. This is an impressive spectacle. The audacity of the performance, the confidence, and while things for Ray and Scott are going undeniably well, Cardinal Andayami's position actually takes a hit. The first of many bespoke conclave secrets reveals itself just when he was about to receive the necessary majority at the vote. Oh, we could have been done by now. We could have been outside drinking cappuccino by now. But get this. Okay, so you see that woman over there? That's Sister Shinumi. She was called to work here under Sister Agnes. You know, Sister Agnes, the very beautiful, brooding woman who's always kind of standing in the corner. So Shinumi was called here very last minute. It's like, what is even going on here? But she's here, she's working. Last night at dinner, she goes up to Entayami's table, starts yelling at him, and then he rushes off, and it's like this whole thing is very weird. Last night, people hear yelling from one of the rooms, and it's like, okay, what is going on? What is their relationship? Turns out, decades ago, they knew each other. She was 19, he was 30. They had an inappropriate relationship. I guess there was like an illegitimate child or whatever, but just, yeah, like not a good look at all. So Lawrence has to break it to Entayami that this basically ruins any chance he has of becoming Pope. The rumors, the secrets, it's insurmountable.
Nothing terrifies our colleagues more than the thought of yet more sexual scandals. You will never be Pope.
Lawrence said during that opening day speech that we should seek a Pope who is imperfect, but this imperfection specifically, if you could call an illicit affair an imperfection, it's a bit too much. The next day, Andayami drops from 52 to a mere 9 votes. Pope chances squashed. Pope chances squandered. Hey, speaking of a woman being brought into the space to potentially sabotage a major debut, it's the morning of Halloween Bash, and Ray is up to something. He's being all chummy with Mo, like, hey, come check out the weight room. Come look at this, and What is this? What do we have here? Scott being handsy with somebody else. I guess handsy is kind of an exaggeration. It's a decom, so all we get is the suggestive touch of the arm, but that's all Mo needs to see. She's out of here. Her first performance with Lemonade Mouth just hours away, and her personal life upended. Yes, the parallels between these movies sometimes do supersede sides. The end Amy to Mo, as is Sister Shinumi to Jules' debacle at the start of my securing the papacy to Halloween bash performance moment.
Wait, Mo. Let her go. Well, she's made her choice. Hey, good luck tonight.
And despite all Ray's best efforts, despite the intimidation, the bullying, the general slander, Lemonade Mouth might just ruin themselves from the inside because it's the Halloween bash and Olivia is a no-show. Can we blame her? It's her nature. It's her character. She's so meek and shy. She must be shaking in her drawers. She can't go out there. There's probably gonna be people out there. They find her hiding in one of the bathrooms and all go inside trying to comfort her when limping for some reason. Anyway, Olivia's like, guys, I can't go out there. I am so scared. I am so scared in a major way. You know me, I'm just scared in my beanie. Don't look at me. I'm literally so scared. And they try to give her words of reassurance, but nothing's really working until they pass her a can of the liberal lemonade and she drinks it. She drinks the yellow Kool-Aid and then she pulls it together. Lemonade Mouth is on. Let's go. Oh shit, they are eating it up. In a major way, they're eating it up, and they're eating it up in a major way. We saw the genesis of this song a few scenes prior when Wen went over to Olivia's house to write lyrics, and continually confirm that he is soft boy.
I like when you smile.
Which brings us to now. If you weren't there, if you somehow missed it, I need you to try to imagine the cultural significance of Determinate by Lemonade Mouth. I bet you're wondering, what does determinate even mean? Nobody knows.
Nobody knows.
A nonsense word used to encapsulate the idea of taking what you have and making something better. When life gives you lemons, you better make lemonade, bitch. An anthem of abstract inspiration. You can see how they win the crowd over with this one, but their next song is a more explicit expression of personal empowerment, so Brennigan shuts it down. What are you doing arming the children with mantras of anarchy like that? Are you crazy? Lemonade Mouth is done for, and not just tonight, but all future school events. Meanwhile, we are 4 or 5 votes into Conclave. This is getting a bit out of hand.
What happened? Conclave.
Bellini still hasn't made any headway, and instead of pushing harder, they decide to settle for Cardinal Tremblay. The left's mission, shut down and forced to pivot in support of a moderate. They do this after Bellini calls a nighttime meeting. He knocks on Lawrence's door. Have you guys ever heard the phrase, the other shoe just dropped? The other shoe is dropped. Anyway, but Bellini is fine to concede because he worries the longer the voting takes, the more everybody's just going to throw the towel in and say, hey, why don't we just have the bigoted Italian do it? He really wants it. And Lawrence at the time says he's cool with it, but he's not cool with it. He's actually gotten some whiffs from not cardinals, but some admin sort of people in the conclave that the late Pope asked Cardinal Tremblay to resign. But when presented with this information, Cardinal Tremblay was like,
What? Who told you that? It's absurd. Oh, I really... Do you want a coffee? I'm shocked.
He initially dropped the whole thing, but now with Tremblay about to receive a bunch of support from the left, Lawrence is going to do some investigating, some separate detective work. Despite saying on that first day, in that first speech, that we should seek a pope who is imperfect, Lawrence wants to find out what makes Tremblay imperfect. Specifically,
I don't know what...
I mean, what if his one imperfection is having an affair with a much younger woman? Do we let him be pope? What if we learned everybody's secrets? If everybody's secrets were on the table, could anybody be pope? So in the wake of operating without institutional support, Lemonade Mouth must take matters into their own hands if they ever want to play in this town again. And turns out that's actually not so hard because they can just take a gig at Dante's Pizzeria. Dante's, the hottest teen spot in town. Brennigan might be able to shut them down at school-sanctioned events, but he can't shut them down in the greater Mesa area. He's not God. And although they're still facing some doubts internally, the school's response to their bash performance ensures we are about to enter a Lemonade Mouth victory lap montage.
Good luck with your movement, but I've got homework to do.
Maybe we do matter.
She's finally getting it. Maybe you're doing a disservice to your followers by denying them, by denying your own ambitions. People are ripping Lemonade Mouth CDs, they're making signs, they're popular now. Pro Lemonade Mouth paraphernalia starts to show up around the school and Brennigan's like, Stella, I thought we were done with this, take this down. And she's like, that wasn't us. That was the people. I can't control what your students are doing. Speaking of unable to control people, Lawrence goes to Benitez to make sure he's good to vote for Tremblay. Not that he's a member of the left's cohort specifically, but he and Lawrence kind of have a rapport between them, and Lawrence views Benitez as like a potential number, someone who can be swayed, but Benitez is not wavering.
I cannot vote for a man unless I think him the most worthy to be pope. And for me, it's you.
Can't control everybody, Lawrence. What's to be done? I mean, maybe you're doing your followers a disservice by denying them, by denying your own papal ambitions. Something to consider. And I would be remiss, of course, to not discuss the peak of Lemonade Mouth's victory montage here, which is obviously the performance of She's So Gone. Naomi Scott steals the show in a major way. We're seeing Mo really let loose for the first time here, both in stage presence and wardrobe. She's wearing sneakers. Are we kidding? Probably more about the logistics than anything. She has to be agile as she goes to stand on tables and sing into napkin dispensers and ignore Scott brooding in the corner. She's so gone from a life of complacency. She's so gone from a cheating man. Cheating, aka letting another woman touch your arm. Scott, how could you? Now he's so gone because she's so gone because she's seen how he's behaved when she was gone. Can I get a conclave analogy up in this joint? Is it that she's so gone because she cannot be pope? But then of course I'd be ignoring the other component, the main component of the song that doesn't concern the physical space at all, but the liminal. She's so gone as in shedding a former version of ourselves, becoming a new woman, about changing our ways. So Lawrence goes to talk to Sister Agnes as part of his Tremblay investigation, wondering if perhaps he had something to do with Sister Shinumi's arrival. And Sister Agnes is like, oh, you want very specific information? I don't know if I can... She's not going to sit on the sidelines anymore and watch corruption take over her conclave, but she has to be discreet. Mo's declaration of she's so gone against Agnes's whisper. She's so gone. She's so gone. And then Lawrence finds it, the damning evidence he was looking for, in an email, nonetheless. It was Tremblay who arranged for Sister Shinumi's arrival at the conclave specifically to ruin Ndiayemi.
That sounds ominous.
And now that the secrets train is rolling, it can't be stopped. Lawrence goes snooping in the late Pope's room.
Look for clues.
And what does he find but a little document laying out all of Tremblay's crimes? Descriptions of him giving away sacred items, giving away little gifts in exchange for papal votes. This is a lot of revelations for one man to take in, so Lawrence does the honorable thing, creates dozens of copies of said document and spreads it out over lunch. Secrets meeting. Let's get all our secrets out on the table, although it doesn't have the initial effect that Lawrence had hoped, because Tremblay is still able to deny that the late Pope asked him to resign.
Holy Father was a sick man.
The men erupt in various levels of yelling, disgruntlement, until Sister Agnes comes forward and clarifies Lawrence's intentions. That this all started with his discovery of Cardinal Tremblay being responsible for Sister Shinumi's arrival. Now that's compelling. Literally, look how gone she is. Okay, so after all that, Ndiayemi is slightly vindicated, Tremblay is done for, and Tedesco hits his vape. Great meeting, everybody. Really productive. Meanwhile, a secrets meeting for the Lemonade Mouth kids is in the works. Olivia's cat has died, so she doesn't go to school that day, and then the whole crew comes over to comfort her, and some seemingly innocuous cloud watching turns into revelations made, secrets revealed. And yeah, the Lemonade Mouth secrets aren't as big as committing crimes against the Catholic Church, but relative to these teens feeling their feelings, the stakes are still pretty high. Stella feels like her family ignores her, and Mo's like, I wish my dad would ignore me. I'm never gonna live up to his expectations. And Charlie's like, try living up to a perfect brother. And Wen's like, I would take perfect brother any day over my dad's stupid girlfriend. And then Olivia says, my dad's in prison. She wins. Her cat has died. Her mother is dead. Her dad is in prison. She lives with her grandma. This is a lot of intel. If you think this is too much info dumping for the cloud viewing moment in the backyard, it's because it is. They show us earlier in the movie how Olivia lives with her grandma and how her parents aren't around. I'm just lazy and didn't want to have to explain it until now. Can we also talk about how Bridget Mendler eats up this performance? Stella is suddenly and conveniently cradling a guitar, so we can wrap this thing up with a song. A simple song about a simple thing, friendship. We won't let you go. Maybe the real lemonade is the friends we made along the way. It's not just about the music, even though it is. It's about being there for each other. It's not just about the papacy, even though it is. It's about being there for each other. Lawrence and Bellini have a heart-to-heart after all the information has come to light. Bellini actually apologizes for pushing Lawrence to vote for Tremblay and feels ashamed that he was willing to overlook all these suspicions around him.
Shameful.
Now that they've had a moment to themselves, they can recalibrate their goals, and Bellini insists that this is now a race between Tedesco and Lawrence. He's the one they should be pushing for Pope.
Will always be more than a band.
Now, with the bonds of the left solidified after a series of trials, it appears that our path to victory, securing the papacy, crushing Rising Star, are just ahead. But these films don't let up. They keep the tension. Okay, so next vote. Lawrence is finally betting on himself, and with the backing of his cohort, he's about to submit his tiny little paper when explosion, as if being smited by God. We learn later it was a car bomb and that similar acts of violence have occurred all across Europe in anticipation of Conclave's decision, the fabric of society falling apart just outside the door. Lemonade Mouth also falling apart. Sorry, is that analogy insensitive? Obviously not falling apart in like a civil unrest, violence, death, explosion kind of way, but you know, in relation to the way a Disney Channel film deals with tension towards the end of the movie. Okay, so Mo has a cold. Ray is heckling them, which distracts Olivia. Also not helping is Charlie, who is eating pizza during the song right now. What is that? We're just playing the cymbal? That's not even the track. Charlie, we need you to lock in right now. This is the penultimate moment. Charlie, I literally can't believe you're eating pizza right now. And finally, Ray, being the delinquent that he is, takes over the stage, knocks people over, cups go flying everywhere. I'm guessing the filmmakers didn't want to deal with the mess of a food fight, but still wanted to give off the vibe of things being thrown in a lunchtime setting. And then, apropos of nothing, Ray takes the drink tap and just starts to spray it everywhere. Dude, you didn't have to do that. And now you've pissed off Dante of Dante's Pizzeria. But Ray's tomfoolery is a success. Lemonade Mouth is booted from playing there. You guys have made a mess of my pizzeria. Dante finally sees what Brennigan feared all along, Lemonade Mouth's power to incite violence in the community in the form of teenage shenanigans, not car bombs. And the problems don't stop there. Charlie admits he has feelings for Mo, which she doesn't reciprocate, and seemingly the stress of that encounter leads to her being even more sick, and Charlie accidentally slamming his hand in a drawer, breaking many fingers. Oh my god. He destroys several appendages after being rejected by Naomi Scott. Bro, I get it. I actually get it though. Then when Wen is helping his dad hang a picture, his dad tells him that he's about to propose to Sydney. Boo! Shitty photographer, community college looking ass Sydney. Ugh, we hate her. But the news is such a shock that the frame slips and hits Wen in the eye. Yow! Talk about two very viscerally upsetting injuries back to back. I'm surprised they didn't round out this sequence with Olivia stepping on a bunch of Legos and Stella getting a career-ending paper cut. No, Stella's actually been MIA right now, and in a surprising turn of events, Olivia is the only one who's ready to perform. The bashful, doubtful protagonist who never thought they'd make it this far is actually the last one standing. But Wen isn't gonna let Olivia feel empowered for too long. Oh, no, not on his watch. Everybody's down. We're feeling down. Stella's missing. Charlie's fingers are broken. Sydney and my dad are getting engaged. Lemonade Mouth is done. It's over.
You just be happy that you're off the hook and that you don't have to go on stage anymore.
No. When this isn't about Lemonade Mouth, this is about you not appreciating what you have. You have a family!
Drag him, Olivia, drag him.
I didn't even want to be in this band in the first place.
Then why did you do it?
For you jerk! Did it for you.
Olivia, soft girl confirmation. She's soft. She's soft for him. This whole argument also with like Olivia clocking Wen for being ungrateful to have a family. The messaging kind of feels weird here. There's something about it. The messaging being, of course, that you should be grateful that your dad has a 28-year-old girlfriend because alternatively, you could have no parents at all. Look at Olivia. Look at this sad sack. All she does is she does old stuff with her grandma. You don't want to be like that, do you? I wonder if any, higher up at Disney who was deciding what story to adapt was like, oh, this is great because how else am I going to break it to my kids that I too would like to date a 28-year-old photographer who goes to community college? What stories can we tell that get us to sympathize with that guy? So following the explosion at the Vatican, the cardinals are forced to sequester even further in an auditorium, a sub-sequestration within their sequestration, if I may. But perhaps this is what we needed all along, because once forced in this space together, the marketplace of ideas unleashes itself, the free flow of competing ideologies. Benitez gives a speech in the name of hope and compassion and good against Tedesco's speech for war and hatred and bad, while Lawrence gives a speech on nothing. He just kind of stands in the corner quietly listening. Seems like them being put in timeout together and speaking face to face instead of whisper, whisper, hubbub, hubbub has made the decision all the more clear. Seems like we're approaching final vote. Perhaps Lemonade Mouth would benefit from being put in timeout together. Don't worry, they do, because they get sent to jail. You drink too much lemonade, right to jail.
Right away.
So Stella's actually been missing this whole time because she's been on strike. She's protesting the latest caveat of the Turboblast sponsorship contract agreement, which states that all competing drink machines must be removed from the school. school. This obviously includes Mel's lemonade, which is a big problem for Lemonade's mouths. And despite their issues, the whole group shows up in support, and of course on top of everything else, Olivia has now lost her voice.
What are you doing?
We could only have an empowered, capable Olivia for so long. Take it away. Give her bronchitis or something, I don't care. Like a bunch of misfit toys, they try to help, but one thing leads to another, and then the police are called, and then they're in jail. In their first sequestration since that detention oh long ago. But here in this space, we're reminded of the magic that is shared between us. Can you sense where this is going? We're tapping, we're bopping, we're humming, and then we're in song.
Come on, turn up the music.
Lemonade Mouth is so back. We're so back. I'm surprised they didn't cut to a prison guard doing a body roll or something. That's how back we are right now. Anyway, the children are bailed out. We have a brief reconciliation with the families, and it is time to face our moment. At final vote, who will it be? Benitez, Tedesco, or Lawrence? At final jam, at Rising Star, who will it be? Mudslide Crush or Lemonade Mouth? Until the end of Final Jam. Mudslide Crush obviously goes first to set the scene, to set the stakes, to perform some state-sanctioned class divide propaganda in the form of Don't You Wish You Were Us. Some lyrics of note. My girl is hotter than your girl. You know it. I know it. My ride is sweeter than your ride. You know it. Hey what? Don't you wish you were us? Hey what? Don't you wish you could rock? You're MIA. We're VIP. You're LOL. We're BIG. No one really likes you that much. Don't you wish you were us? Tough act to follow. Now Lemonade Mouth's gotta go out there, and despite having the school support, that doesn't mean all their internal struggles and doubts suddenly go away. Especially when they're like physical ailments. Gwen is playing the wrong notes on the piano because he can't see, I guess. The picture frame injury has really taken a toll. He doesn't even know his instrument anymore. Olivia sounds terrible. I cannot overstate that she is ill.
I'm crazy worried. I'm so sorry.
The I'm so sorry, obviously, an actual lyric of the song, but the double meaning here in that Olivia is actually apologizing for letting the crowd down. Much like Lawrence, she loses her voice in a key moment before a deciding vote. But then something crazy happens. The audience starts to sing for them. Scott has a change of heart and goes to play guitar. The right, left, arts, sports, new band, old band sides of it all are withering away. Because a win from Mudslide Crush is a win for high school hierarchies, but in a way, a win from Lemonade Mouth is also a win for high school hierarchies. You're just replacing the most popular group with a different most popular group. It's like that scene in The Hunger Games where Katniss goes to kill Julianne Moore instead of Donald Sutherland, because Julianne Moore, though she is the new leader, still represents the same kind of old corrupted power that only benefits a certain kind of people. This is a people's win. Having your audience sing the song back to you, this is community. And then the movie doesn't even tell us who wins Rising Star, it just cuts away because that's beside the point. The point isn't that Lemonade Mouth beats and destroys Mudslide Crush, but that their messaging empowers people to use their voices. The reason why they started this whole thing, to show people that they deserve to be heard. And look, literally, their message in practice. And then who pulls out the papal win but Cardinal Benitez? Cardinal Benitez, who never adhered to a side, but just always did what he thought was best. The Hunger Games analogy also works here. A Lawrence win would just be a win for the respective side. This is a win for the people. What a relief. Can we have a moment to relax and enjoy the situation? No. The secrets do not stop a-coming. The entire movie, Lawrence has heard like rumors and whiffs from, again, these admin sort of conclave people who just can't help but get in everybody's business, that Benitez was having some medical procedure done but then decided not to go through with it. And of course, now that he's been voted Pope, the nature of the medical procedure has come to light. It was a hysterectomy. Benitez was going to get a hysterectomy, but he didn't get a hysterectomy. Benitez has a uterus, he's intersex, and Lawrence is working through that information right now.
I am what God made me.
Despite saying on that first day, in that first speech, that we should seek a pope who is imperfect, is this detail specifically a bit too much? It differs from Tremblay's bribes and Ndiame's scandal in that Benitez being intersex does not speak to his character, but it does speak to the church's fear of things not being in this binary. The little boys club just voted for someone with a uterus.
Let's not mention women.
So at this point, the question becomes, is Lawrence going to do anything about it? Is he going to say anything at all? Well, as the Vatican opens up, as windows are opening, we're seeing daylight in the space, fresh air for the first time in a while. It seems like the answer is no. He's gonna keep this secret to himself. He smiles as he hears the people outside cheering that a decision was made at all, and who is he to take that away from them? But more importantly, we understand Lawrence's change in perspective in the thing with the turtles. In the Vatican, in the Conclave, there's this pond with turtles, and Lawrence and Benitez have differing views of the turtles because sometimes the turtles go out of the pond and into the walkways, and Lawrence is frustrated by this because he's worried that they'll get hurt. Conclave is not exactly conducive to turtles roaming around, but it's more about how his understanding of what turtles are goes against what the turtle is doing. Turtles should be in water. Why is this turtle not in the water? Benitez, on the other hand, thinks that the turtles are funny, and he accepts their nature.
I thought I was imagining them. I love them. They're so clever.
They go through this arduous process. They vote on the Pope. Lawrence learns this detail about Benitez that goes against his understanding of who a Pope should be. But after talking to Benitez, understands that this is truly the right choice. When everybody else is wrapping up Conclave, we see Lawrence happily carrying one of the wayward turtles back to the pond. He understands now he can't change the nature of the turtles, but he can accept them and just help them along their way. It would certainly be easier if the turtles didn't leave the water, but they do. It would certainly be easier if Benitez wasn't intersex, but he is. Oh, we have to accept the nature of these things, and so that's what he does. He smiles when he hears the crowd cheering. He can appreciate this moment. What is the crowd cheering at exactly? Are they cheering at the Pope? Are they cheering at Lemonade Mouth playing at Madison Square Garden? Cut to Lemonade Mouth playing at Madison Square Garden. They may have not gotten Rising Star, but they have got the star power. It's getting late. Really quick before we relish in our victory. So at Wen's dad's wedding to Sydney, Stella meets Mel of Mel's Lemonade, and she convinces him to fund a probably multi-million-dollar project of the school's auditorium. I don't understand how the Lemonade Band's got that kind of money, but girl, get your bag, I guess. And this moment is funny because we realize that Brannigan wasn't into the sports drink brand deals because of the sports. He was in it for the deals. All the artsy-fartsy students had to do this whole time was just get a sponsor, bitch. Bitch, get a sponsor. Get Michaels to fund your craft space. I don't care. Brannigan doesn't care about the size. He cares about where the money is flowing. Talk about a late in the movie plot twist that shows how the seemingly rigid binary systems of our institutions aren't so foolproof after all. Anyway, back to MSG. Breakthrough, the song they're performing here, is a standout. It's a definitive hit. I also love the sheer amount of people on stage, the amount of bodies involved, but that just reflects on this movie. This was a movie about people transcending systems. Lemonade Mouth is our grassroots, grass-fed, shop small, shop locally decom that we needed in the trying times of 2011, in the trying times of being weighed down and by all these jackets and necklaces and Wen's tiny, tiny scarf. I don't know how he does it. I see you in the blind side, moving through the limelight, moving to the music, I'm used to when the time's right, looking like a girl through the shadows, I can shine bright, usually in life there's one shot and this is on. Keep listening to the rhythm, it'll make you start pushing through barriers, it'll take you, not too long.